Oi, tudo bem? Sejam muito bem-vindos ao Cultura de Excelência. Eu sou a Karen Ross e é um prazer receber vocês aqui. Aqui na Voitto, teremos encontros semanais onde vamos conversar com mulheres de todo o mundo sobre propósito, melhoria do processo e gentileza. Hi, everyone. Karen Ross here. How are you? It's a pleasure to welcome you here today. And here at Voitto, we'll be having weekly meetings where we're going to talk with women from around the world about purpose, process improvement, and kindness. And before we start today's fabulous episode, I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, well, let me do this properly. Please use the QR code on the screen and download our handbook for this web series. In the handbook, you're going to find lots of fabulous information. You'll find the insights from our each episode. So super simple. Use your cell phone, download the manual, and you'll have everything that you need. So today, I'm super excited to have this episode called Raise Your Voice, Learn How to Become an Influencer in Lean. And we're going to be welcoming a fabulous woman in Lean influencer and a wonderful friend of mine, Elisabeth Swan from justintimecafe.com. So, Elisabeth, so glad you are here with us today.
Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Karen.
You're welcome. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about Just in Time Cafe?
Sure. See, a little bit about me. I have been in the lean world for over 30 years. That's how I got all the white hair. And I have been coaching and training and consulting and helping people design programs for hotels, financial firms, hospitals, telephone companies. The list goes on. You get to know a lot about the world when you do lean consulting. And I have also developed lots of online training over the past 10 years, which I think is fantastic. But as Karen mentioned, my latest effort is to run something called the Just in Time Cafe, where we try to expand the lean community and educate each other, connect with each other, share resources. So that's my passion.
Thank you so much. And a number of years ago, when I was when Toyota Way to Service Excellence just came out, and I was, just in a way getting started on my own lean influencer journey, I happened to be invited to be the keynote speaker at a conference. And when I walked into the conference room, I saw Elisabeth and our friend Tracy O'Rourke, and they had a podcast going. And I was like, oh my goodness, like it's Elisabeth Swan. And I took up all of my courage and I walked over to Elisabeth and I said, I can't believe I'm meeting you in person. Do you think like it might be possible that I could be on your podcast? And so today, when we wanted to talk about how to become an influencer in lean, Elisabeth was really the first person that I thought of, since she's really helped me and influenced me so much along my own lean journey. So Elisabeth, I hope you don't mind me telling that story.
That's a great story. And thanks for reminding me, because the podcast, that was very early on. It was really wonderful to have you as a guest. It cemented our friendship, our relationship in the lean world. And when we had stopped the podcast after 4 years, you were very upset that we had stopped it. So you were instrumental in us bringing it back. So the Just in Time Cafe podcast lives again. It's been back since the beginning of this year. And that's also a way to share fabulous voices like Karen's. And Karen's going to be on in November. You're coming back.
I know, I can't wait. It's my favorite. So let's get started. And I have some questions that I know that your answers, Elisabeth, are really going to help so many of our viewers, and so many of them especially are women and younger women who want to raise their voices and become influencers in lean. And I already feel like you already referenced your white hair, and I have the salt and pepper. And I really feel it's part of our responsibility to take what we've learned over the years to help other younger people learn how to raise their voices, how to speak with confidence, and how to become influencers. So, our first question is, what attributes do you think are important nowadays for people who want to become the future lean leaders and future lean influencers?
I would say that these circle around kind of three areas. One of them is this concept that we call servant leadership. Consider yourself a servant of the culture, a servant of the people who you're trying to bring up as problem solvers. So having that attitude is very helpful, that you are there to serve. Another important thing is your job is to remove fear from the organization and to remove blame. What you want is for people to focus on processes, right? So that's the beauty of lean. It lets you try to solve problems by looking at processes, but that means your job is to remove fear of mistakes, of showing people that there are problems, things like that. And then lastly, to build skills. So not just problem solving skills, you've got to build coaching skills. You want people to be able to help each other. So build problem solvers, also build coaches. So those, I think, are key attributes for a lean leader right now.
And that's so interesting that you say that, because isn't it like amazing how actually in helping others learn to be better and in helping others develop themselves, that's actually what develops your own voice as a leader and your own voice as an influencer. It seems in a way so opposite to what people would think, but it really is the way, isn't it?
Absolutely. You don't realize it right away, but on reflection, which with our white hair, Karen, we've had lots of time for, you realize, that's what made me a better leader. That's what makes me a better leader all the time. Yes.
Absolutely. So for those people who are working on this journey and want to become more of an influencer and raise their voice, what are some tips and ideas that you have for how they can identify their strengths and become an influencer in what they do best?
One of the things that I have enjoyed immensely is conversations like I have with Karen every other Friday, and conversations that I have with other colleagues, conversations that I have with current and past mentors. But those are the people that I would go to help you understand what you're good at, right? So asking other people, what do you see in me? Is a great way to have a conversation with someone. It's a great way to connect with another human being, which is part of what will develop you as a leader. The other aspect is you'll get this reflection from other people. What do they see as your skills and your traits? Then I would say spend some time writing that down, and so you can reflect what you heard and also what you feel. And once you have those boiled down, then test it out on that group again. So really take some time to consider, what do you feel? What do others see? And then somewhere in the middle there is exactly what you're great at.
I love that, because also so often we have our own blind spots and we don't see ourselves the way others see us or what we're good at. And then when we hear it from someone else, and oftentimes, we hear it from multiple other people, it gives us a different view on ourselves, that we just, we tell ourselves all sorts of stories in our heads that we wouldn't see that.
Yeah. The stories in your heads, I call those the chattering monkeys that sort of edit you before you even get a word out of your mouth. The other thing about asking other people to help you reflect on your skills is that you're forming better connections. You're already building your influence because you're asking other people's opinions. You're respecting people by doing that. So that the benefits are beyond just getting that information.
Absolutely. And that actually ties us perfectly into our next question, which is how can someone actually work to increase their influence? Because I think sometimes people say, but, I'm just me. How am I, you know, what am I going to do to increase influence? What tips do you have for us?
So first off, pick topics you care about. What is close to your heart, right? So you got that, hopefully some clarity by having those conversations with others. Then choose your favorite outlet. I would say Karen and I have some favorites. LinkedIn is a very good place for lean. It's got a very big community, very international community. I find that a huge positive sharing space. I love it. Twitter, there's less room for what you say, but you can get also a good community building up there. And then I would say start small. Choose your topic. Write up, in your own voice. What do you think about it? People love authenticity. They really want to hear, what do you think? I don't want to hear some corporate speak. I don't want to hear you choose, sanctioned words or be safe. Say what you really feel about a particular topic in lean. Ask a question of your community. Also, what's great is to include some kind of an image. You might have a photo of something that just happened to you in your lean journey. It could be at home. It could be at work. You could write a drawing. Karen will reinforce this idea that the drawing does not have to be Picasso. The drawing can be simple. It could be a smiley face. It could be a frowny face, whatever the image is that you want. And, so a graphic, a drawing, a photo, whatever it is, include that because that engages us. Half our brain is dedicated to the visual. That's where our own resources and the people you're speaking with, they really respond to visual. So tell your story, ask your question, but get a visual in there.
And I love that, Elisabeth. And I think it's so important to not just, it's to speak in your own voice. And oftentimes we're worried and we think, well, what if someone disagrees with me? What happens if I put this out and somebody thinks that I'm wrong? What would you suggest to someone how they can get a little more courage, right?
A little more courage. Well, let me say this. I love hearing people disagree with me because I don't want my posts and my questions to be an echo chamber because I'm learning. And so think of yourself as a learner and you put this message out there, you put the questions out there. I mean, I'll tell you, one of the main people who disagrees with me when I put things out is Karen. And I look forward every time to hearing her perspective. It's different from mine. I always learn. And I look for those to me are the gems. So orient yourself to open up and look for those gems and thank the people who give them to you. Interact with the people who talk to you. So think of each of these, the people who respond to your post. Now, these are connections. These are part of your influence. These are people that you want to get to know, even if it's just online. I've gotten to know so many people personally that started as just somebody who responded. And that's been a beautiful avenue for connections, learning, everything good about lean.
And just because somebody disagrees doesn't mean, or we disagree with their opinion, doesn't mean we can't be friends. We can't respect their opinion. We can't, treat them, write our disagreement in a kind way and treat them kindly, because what we're working on is having a discussion and growing perspectives, right, Elisabeth?
Absolutely. And I would say lean in. If you find someone responds and it's not exactly what you expected or it's the opposite, lean in, say, tell me more. Invite them. Tell me more. I would love to understand more. because you learn and they feel a connection to you, and it's a good conversation.
Yep, and that's the best way to influence. So, and this leads right into the next question too.
What's that?
Well, lean is about continuous improvement. So, how can we apply continuous improvement in our own careers, in our own work to become better influencers? How can we apply continuous improvement to ourselves?
It's such a good question. It's a great question. So number one, just as you would with any improvement effort, I always try to clarify with the person I'm coaching, what's the purpose? And the phrases I often ask is, for the sake of what? Why are we doing this? Why are we making this faster? Why are we making this better? Well, then for the sake of what? And then I apply that to myself. What is your purpose? Why are you doing this? Why do you want to do lean? Why do you want to learn? Why do you want to become a leader? So think about your own purpose and get clarity there. And then what's your target? What's your vision? What do you see for yourself? What's out there for you? It may be a position. It might be different aspects of who you could be. And then think about, okay, so who am I now? Where am I now? And then, just like you would with any improvement effort, what's the gap? What's the gap between who I am now and my vision of myself that I have out there and I hold, and it's a great vision. So now I feel this tension between where I am and where I'm going to be. Now you can start to tackle that, right? Does that mean I've got to reach out? Who do I know that could help me get there? Well, I'm going to call them. I'm going to form some relationships. Or what are some skills that I've got to build if I want to be that, if I want to get to that position? Who can tell me what exactly matters most? So just treat yourself like an improvement project.
I love that. Actually, sometimes my children say, Mom, we feel like we grew up as an improvement project, right? But all of the things that we teach other people, sometimes really it's funny because we forget that to apply them to ourselves and what we're doing ourselves for our own career to become better influencers. And they're right there, right in front of us, right? Yeah. All right, now we've gotten to the section of the show that really I absolutely love, because we get to take questions from Voitto students. And of course, as a student, the best way to learn is to ask a question. So here is the first of Voitto students' questions. I aim to be a consultant. With your extensive experience in this career, what can I do to prepare myself? What materials can I use? What are the necessary skills? How can I become a lean consultant?
I would focus on this idea of practice. So you need to do to learn, right? And you may choose, there's different methods, there's different tools, you can find templates, all those things. And those are going to be particular to what works for you or the people that you're exposed to, what they're using. But what really matters is practice. And for that, you want to find someone who's doing what you want to do and ask them to, I'd say at the top level would they be a mentor to you, right? In your career, find a career mentor. I'd see another level might be, can I just have a informational interview with you to understand how you got to where you got to be? And then I will say, as if you were having an informational interview with me, what I did was I saw people that were doing what I wanted to do. And I said, take me along. The next time you go to work with a client, maybe it's a day session, maybe it's online, maybe it's in person, take me. I'm going to help you. I will, whatever it takes, I'm yours for the day, but I want you to give me tasks that you think I can handle, but I want to learn by being with you. And people said yes. I never had anybody say no to me. And I just became, in our culture, we'd call it a Girl Friday, right? So I put the word out all the time. Hey, what you got going on? Who's got something? I want to come. and I learned so much, and I was on my way.
And, that's exactly what I did. And we've had Leslie Hinkler, my first lean teacher. She's been on this show, and that's exactly, I said, please take me along with you. And a couple of years ago, I was the keynote speaker for Voitto's Fabulous QP Summit. And the theme and what we took away was practice, 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 practice. So you and I, Elisabeth, on this topic, we are 100%
completely aligned. And also, you would agree with me on this, that what happens is it becomes a virtuous cycle. I tell my colleagues, if you have kids trying to get in the business, send them to me. If you want someone to get exposure, I'm happy to do it. So I absolutely pay it back.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the best ways we're doing that is with Women in Lean, our table, right? Everyone can join. You're going to absolutely meet somebody who's going to be able to help you on your way, no matter where you want to go in the lean world. It's absolutely one of the best ways to get that kind of help.
Absolutely.
So, question number 2 from Voitto students. Many women are afraid to take a leadership position, even though they're excellent at what they do. What can women do not to give up in the face of challenges, not to give up in the face of the challenge of wanting to be a leader and wanting to be an influencer? How can we keep going?
This is a great question and near and dear to both our hearts, I know. And yes. I would say the idea is you want to have a seat at the table. And that's what this humongous network that Karen just mentioned that she founded, the Women in Lean. It's called Women in Lean, Our Table, right? So we have a seat at our table. And that is a fabulous network. I would say join, don't look back, jump into that network right away. This is an incredibly supportive group, people at all levels, levels of experience, levels of leadership, levels of engagement. So this is a network you would never regret joining. Also, think about if you can't join a table, create a table, right? So you can form your own network. And I would say, reach out, find your own colleagues that you want to have that Friday phone call at 4:30 every Friday and connect and form those networks and keep them alive. Reach out, benefit from the courage of others, right? So see, you might be having a moment of self-doubt. Well, find somebody else because the odds are they're not having that right now. They might in a month and reach out to you. But while you're having a moment of doubt, reach out to them. And just like having a mentor or coach, they will loan you courage until you feel it yourself. Other people can loan that to you. So always take advantage of your network and create your own.
I love that. Absolutely fabulous advice. And for our last question, what tips would you give for someone who is a lean leader at work or an influencer to actually promote kindness in the world?
I have learned a lot from one of my good colleagues, Karen Ross. And I know one thing to do is to start your conversation, start your email, start your communications, checking in. How are you doing? Check in with another person. The other thing I would say is a mantra for me and change the way I dealt with problems, difficult situations, difficult emotions, being angry with people, feeling things aren't right. I always assume good intent and seek to understand. So number one, start with assuming. I don't know where this person's coming from. I don't know what causes this. I need to understand that. And then my job is to use inquiry, use my ability to ask questions to better understand what is happening for this person. Now, this will bring all emotions to a more manageable place. Both these things, assume the good intent and seek to understand. So those are huge. And I would say these also are good training for your influence, because building relationships is critical to leadership. You cannot be a good leader unless you're good at forming relationships. So you want to get to know the people around you. That's the sign of a good leader. So this is part of that. If you really use your inquiry skills, if you take a moment, take a beat, you're building your relationships in your network.
Elisabeth, I just love that. Thank you so much. First of all, for being such a fabulous influence on me, and for being a matriarch and fabulous influence for so many women in Lean over so many years. I know that people are going to want to get in touch with you, and I know they're certainly not going to want to miss an episode of the Just in Time Cafe podcast. How can people find you and get in touch with you?
You can write me emails at Elisabeth with an S. My parents got fancy with my name, so it's Elisabeth with an S. Have to remember that, at the Just in Time Cafe, and we shorten it for the email. So it's JITCAFE.com. So jitcafe.com at the end of my email. And that's our website too. So if you want to go there and find out, see all the podcasts, see all the free webinars, that's another good way to get to us and to connect.
Totally cool. Okay, well, before we end this episode, I'm going to go through our key insights, and we have so many. So everybody ready? Here we go. Okay, key insight number 1. The top 3 skills of a leader that Elisabeth let us know. 1, be a servant to people. Write your job. Number 2, your job is to remove fear from the organization. And number 3, coach creativity and problem solving. Fabulous top skills. All right, insight number 2, ask people, what do you see in me? That way you know which points, skills, all the things that you can improve, and actually they might be things that you haven't noticed about yourself. Insight number 3, start small, but focus always on your purpose. LinkedIn is a great place to cultivate your lean influence. You can ask questions of your community. You can post all different kinds of things, and you're going to find lots of people out there who are willing to engage. Remember, be yourself, use your words, your own voice. That's what people want to hear. Insight number 4, don't be afraid of someone disagreeing with your point of view, because no one is correct all of the time. It's simply an opportunity to lean in and expand the conversation and learn more and actually contribute further ideas of your own, and that's going to expand your influence as well. All right, insight number 5, key questions. What's your purpose? What is your goal? What's the gap between who I am and who I want to be? What can I do to close that gap and to solve this? We need to apply our good lean thinking principles and practices on ourselves to improve our own, whatever it is we want to improve about ourselves, including our ability to influence. Insight number 6, you have to do it to learn. Do jobs for acquaintances, ask people how you can help them. Again, remember that idea of being a servant. And the important thing is to apply lean in your daily life. Always remember, practice. Elisabeth and I are totally in agreement with that. All right. Insight number 7, don't be afraid. Just get started. Reach out, strengthen your network. Please join us at Women in Lean, our table. Ask people for help. Ask people how you can help them, and ask how you can find a mentor to get you started on the way. Insight number 8, building relationships is a key function of leaders. This also helps how we influence others, staff people, the people we work together with at peers, and then we can help them with advice and actions. So what a What a great episode it's been today. And hard to believe we've come to the end of today's episode, but that's it. That's it for this week's episode of Cultura de Excelencia. Thank you for joining me and my fabulous guest, Elisabeth Swan. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody next time, where we're going to talk about female entrepreneurship and how to chart your own path by building your own business in Lean. And we'll have another fabulous woman in Lean as our guest. Until then, I hope you have a fabulous week filled with purpose, process improvement, and kindness. Bem, pessoal, esse foi o sétimo episódio do Cultura de Excelência. Muito obrigada, juntaram a mim e a Elisabeth Swan hoje. Espero ver todos vocês na semana que vem, onde vamos falar sobre empreendedorismo feminino, como traçar meu próprio caminho no Lean, com mais uma mulher incrível no Lean. Até lá, espero que você tenha uma semana fabulosa e cheia de propósitos, melhoria de processos e gentileza. Ciao, ciao, everybody.